How do you protect your assets from getting sued? My name is Michael Pevney. I am an estate planning lawyer and I create estate plans for California families. In this video, we're going to talk about kind of 3 ways to protect yourself from getting sued. Asset protection is a huge question that a lot of my clients have, and the answer might be a little bit simpler than many people realize. So I set up complete estate plans for California families. You can follow this channel for more estate planning information. I've got a lot of other videos on a lot of other topics, but on this one, we're going to be talking about asset protection. How do you protect yourself from getting sued? So first, let's talk about how people get sued. Most people get sued for either one of 3 things. First, they get in a car crash. That might be the number one way people get sued. Second, people get sued for something that happens on a property that they own. And third, they get sued for something that happens at work, something that they do in their professional life. And so those are the top 3 reasons people get sued. Car crash, something happens on their property, or they do something at work. The number one way to protect yourself from all of these things is insurance. Not a super exciting subject to talk about, but yeah, we're talking about insurance. That means a good car policy. It means a good homeowner's policy if you are a homeowner. And above and beyond that, and this can provide the most peace of mind to people, is an umbrella policy. What is an umbrella? What is an umbrella policy? An umbrella policy is an insurance policy that basically raises the limits of car policies and homeowners policies if some sort of a lawsuit or a judgment exceeds those limits. Typically, they are sold in increments of $1 million each. So you usually have to have a bare minimum of a limit in a car insurance policy and a bare minimum of a limit in a homeowner's policy before the insurance company lets you purchase a umbrella policy. And they usually come in increments of $1 million. So the lowest of umbrella policy you can usually buy is $1 million. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. And it a little bit surprising. You might be surprised on how inexpensive it is. Quick disclaimer, I don't sell insurance. I don't get kickbacks from insurance companies or anything like that. Insurance can be life insurance, and making sure you're properly covered with homeowners and umbrella policy can be a part of a complete estate plan, but it's a question that I get a lot. How do I protect myself from being sued? Because ultimately what happens is if people don't know, or if there is nothing to get, or there isn't a very high limit on a policy, people might try to go beyond that limit to try to actually get to your personal assets, which is why we want, for many homeowners, once you own a home, it's probably time to get an insurance policy and an umbrella policy of maybe $1 million. That first $1 million of umbrella coverage, I don't want to quote prices here, but it can often be $300, $400 a year for the year, not a month, a year. And then oftentimes that second million above that first million is even cheaper than that. And it can provide a lot of peace of mind, because the reality is most settlements and most legal judgments, even if something went to trial, are much, much, much less than those limits. It's very rare that a judgment exceeds $1 million or $2 million. Now, that's a little bit of a joke, but I do say, if you rear end a car full of plastic surgeons, then you really need to be, you really need to be worried about your limits. And then you just kind of add more insurance to it, because that is the real base level. We don't have to do a lot of other fancy strategies. I'm going to get to some of those in a moment, but just having good insurance is oftentimes going to handle it, going to cover it. If your homeowners and your car coverage is with the same company, get a quote for umbrella insurance. Sometimes someone can just write an umbrella policy, even if they don't have the car and the homeowner's policy. And if you work with somebody, get a quote from them, get multiple quotes, whatever it is, but get that umbrella policy in place. It even will oftentimes handle, in California at least where I practice, a lot of dog bites can even be covered by homeowners coverage. Sometimes it depends on the breed or if there's been prior things. Here's a little trick of the trade before we get on to the number 2 way to protect your assets from lawsuit is if you own a car and you've got a kid and the kid's driving the car, once they turn 18, maybe put the car in the name of the kid themselves. A lot of 18-year-olds don't have a huge amount of assets. And yes, according to some legal theories, you could still be sued even though an adult child owns the car, but not another level of protection there. Number two, that number one really is just good insurance. Car insurance, homeowner's insurance, umbrella policy, at least $1 million if you own property, if you own businesses or rental properties, and we're going to want to go into that $2 million range typically. Number two way to protect yourself is if you are a business owner, you can incorporate. You can incorporate that business into an LLC, into a corporation, S Corp, C Corp, whatever it is. The whole idea is that your business life and your business activities are separate from your personal life and your personal activities. And it's very important not to commingle those funds, because then what a potential plaintiff, someone that wants to sue you, can do is what we call in the law piercing the corporate veil. That's one of those law school words that we go through the company because you're using the same credit card for everything, business expenses, personal expenses, putting all of your personal expenses on your business card and coming out of your business account and all of that. And so for that reason, we need to keep things separate. But if something happens to you in your business life and as a result of a business that you own, your personal assets should be protected, because as a result of placing that business inside of a corporate entity like an LLC or like a corporation. Oftentimes small businesses are taxed as an S Corp. Again, not here to give tax advice. There's S Corps and C Corps. Talk to your accountant about that one. And what we can do if you have a business asset and you have your personal assets, they can both be placed inside of a trust, a revocable living trust. And one of the great things that a trust does, it avoids probate. Probate, again, being the court system that your stuff has to go through if you pass away without an estate plan set up. It can be really expensive. And not only people think about homes having to go through probate. $1 million home costs close to $50,000 to get through probate in California. Businesses also have to go through probate. So you can put the business inside of the trust, and you can also put the home inside of the same trust, right? I'm making gestures here with my hands. I don't have my whiteboard with me right now, but a business can go inside of a living trust just like a bank account or just like a personal residence or any other real estate can go inside of the trust. And by being inside of that trust, that doesn't commingle the assets just by being inside of that trust. And so number two, way to protect yourself from liability, from being sued, is any business assets to be placed inside of that trust. Because I did say that the number two or number three reason for being sued is something that happens in your business life. Now, for me, don't get any ideas out there, but for me, just by being incorporated, because my law firm is incorporated, doesn't protect me from malpractice. I can actually personally be sued for malpractice, and just because I'm incorporated, can't protect against that. But guess what you do to prevent yourself from malpractice? You get malpractice insurance, which of course I have. It's extensive. Thankfully, the premium's not that high because, well, I haven't been sued yet. Usually happens to every professional at some point in their career, but thankfully it hasn't happened to me yet. So yeah, we want to keep business assets separate. We want to have proper insurance. And then, and only then, if you have a relatively large net worth, and I'm talking about getting into the sort of 8 figures here, $10 million and above, or you have some sort of special job, maybe you're a public figure and it's very difficult to insure against it from traditional business or malpractice insurance, then we want to start thinking about going out of state, and the real protection happens offshore. Now, we're really talking about the top 1 and well into the smaller than the top 1%, half of 1%, tenth of 1% that really need to start going offshore. Assets are placed offshore inside of a trust there. I don't deal with this. Talk to people that actually do. It's expensive to set up. It's expensive to maintain, but it does provide a certain amount of coverage from lawsuit. Now, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this. There are plenty of other content creators that do that, but if you're a relatively normal person, you have a relatively normal job, you own a home, you own a business, you have a couple of rental homes, that sort of thing, you are not a large public figure, or you don't have in the tens of millions of dollars, not necessarily appropriate. You're going to spend tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even six figures, setting up a complicated asset protection system that's going to end up being offshore in some little island somewhere. And yes, that can properly cover you and protect you from liability. But of course, it does come at a cost. I really don't think most people need that. And again, I don't do that. If the time does come, every once in a while, someone will come to me that does have a legitimate issue there that they might need some protection from. I refer them out to frankly, a bigger law firm that's in a really big, really nice office that has a lot of lawyers that do a lot of things that involve taxes and businesses and estate planning, or just a boutique estate planning firm, or a big, big, big law firm. And that's fine, and that's totally appropriate. So we're going to wrap it up. The top three ways that people are sued are car crash, something happens in property that you own, or what are those balloons coming up there? Oh my gosh, something happens in property that you own, or third, something happens in your business life. And the absolute number one, hands down, way to protect yourself from pretty much all of these things is good insurance. Car policy, homeowner's policy, umbrella policy. Don't forget about the umbrella policy out there. Second way to protect yourself, incorporate. Make sure any business that you own is properly incorporated so that our plaintiffs out there, the people that are out to sue you, cannot pierce that corporate veil and attach themselves to your personal assets. And then yes, for public figures out there, for people that are real targets for a lawsuit, for people that have in the eight figures, tens of millions of dollars, then we want to start looking at setting up some more complex corporate and trust situations that are oftentimes done offshore. My name is Michael Pevney. I am an estate planning lawyer. I create estate plans for families in California. Ask an estate planning question in the comments. And if you are in California and it is time to start setting up that estate plan, you can follow the information in the comments or in my profile to set up an appointment to talk with me for free. OCEstatePlanLawyer.com. Thanks for your time. Thank you for your attention.